The woke side of the internet thinks going through someone's old MySpace account makes them part of the resistance. It doesn't. It makes you a punk. Colonel Alexander Vindman exposing the Ukraine fiasco. Noble. That's not you taking down the host of the Ice Capades. You're a loser with Wi-Fi and all the time in the world to listen to long-forgotten podcasts. You're not a journalist. You're just a creepy little rat. Go to Texas and catch a runaway embryo.
Bill Maher is once again taking aim at what he calls the modern-day faith of wokeism. And this time, he's not holding back. He's bringing the flamethrowers with him. His latest targets? The self-appointed online detectives who spend their free time digging up decade-old tweets just to wreck someone's career over a joke that didn't age well. This wasn't a soft landing for Maher. It was a fiery touchdown on Mars. He tore into the hypocrisy, the performative outrage, and the strange thrill these digital enforcers seem to feel while tearing people down.
Being a snitch, now it's not a bad thing. Oh, it used to be. It used to be one of the first things we taught children. Nobody likes a tattletale. But now, virtually any public accomplishment comes with the obligatory follow-up snitch story a few days later. Like what happened with that sad schmuck who was supposed to host Jeopardy. But fortunately, the honor of game shows was preserved when Squeal Team 6 went through his old podcast and found out he once used the term whatever that means.
I honestly can't pinpoint when this became normal. The moment critics turned into full-time online detectives digging through someone's past just to find a single off-color tweet from a decade ago. Somehow, this obsession with public shaming has evolved into a national pastime, especially for those who see themselves as the spotless guardians of the woke crowd. Words like accountability and justice don't seem to mean much anymore. Now, it's all about dominance, public humiliation, and parading your supposed virtue for a few likes and retweets. Because of that, the internet has become so poisonous that people are afraid to even speak their minds. Maher isn't buying it. He's exposing the facade for what it really is. Vanity disguised as virtue. And trust me, his takedown pulls no punches. So fasten your seatbelt, this one's intense.
Click and watch this one catch fire.
I'm sorry, Mike, but we, the perfect people who have never made a mistake, we just can't let society be sullied by horrible people like you. Bye-bye. Fans of cable news will recognize the rising journalist Alexi McCammond, who was appointed editor of Teen Vogue, but then had to resign before her first day, when some of her high school tweets suddenly became too much to bear. Tweets like, now Googling how to not wake up with swollen Asian eyes. And, you're so gay.
If you've ever looked at some of the old harmless tweets people get canceled over, you'd think it was satire. We're talking about corny jokes no sane person would take seriously, outdated memes, or silly posts made by teenagers who barely understood the weight of their words. Yet the online mob descends like sharks smelling blood in the water, combing through digital histories like furious archaeologists, digging, twisting, and condemning anything that can be used to declare someone morally bankrupt over things said long before they even knew what problematic meant. Intent doesn't matter. Context doesn't matter. Time doesn't matter. If rewriting your past gives them another chance to play executioner, they'll take it without hesitation. This isn't about accountability anymore. It's about destruction. Apologies don't satisfy the mob. Regret doesn't quench their thirst. What they crave is a public spectacle, a symbolic punishment. They're not seeking understanding. They're collecting trophies, a ruined career, a broken reputation, one more scalp hung on the wall of so-called justice in a culture that's forgotten how to forgive.
And her resignation was endorsed by the hierarchy of the magazine, including the senior social media manager, Christine Davitt. Good for you, Christine. You helped catch the Zodiac. Oh no, you just ruined someone's career for no reason. Same diff. Funny end of the story, after Alexi McCammond resigned for her innocuous tweets, someone went through Christine Davitt's old high school tweets and, oops, seems she tweeted the N-word twice to a white friend in 2009.
And that's the same hypocrisy that Bill Maher keeps exposing. These self-righteous online investigators who treat old tweets like classified documents are often the biggest hypocrites in the room. Why? They are guilty of the same digital flaws they like criticizing others for. The archives of their timelines contain their own skeletons. Outrageous jokes, cringeworthy comments, and outdated opinions that are just waiting to be found. But they count on everyone being too busy to look elsewhere. Maher's point cuts crisply and cleanly. If everyone was judged by their history, nobody would be able to survive. These digital inquisitors act like saints, holding their trophies of other people's mistakes.
This is why I'm a little hopeful that this purity purge may end, because it's starting to eat its own. ESPN reporter Rachel Nichols was a feminist success story, but when she complained in a private telephone call about ESPN's crappy long-time record on diversity and expressed her view that she felt like she was being sacrificed by the network so they could make up for that crappy long-time record on diversity, the call was leaked and she was toast.
In the end, it's no surprise they've started turning on their own. It was bound to happen. Everyone at some point has said or thought something foolish. It's part of being human. That's how people grow. You stumble, reflect, and shed your old nonsense as life humbles you a little. Growth should come from understanding, not from public humiliation. But the cancel mob isn't interested in growth. Outrage is their oxygen. They parade around like flawless saints, pretending they've never misspoken or made a tasteless joke. The irony is almost poetic. If the same spotlight ever turned toward them, they'd vanish in an instant. Because here's the truth. Dig deep enough into anyone's past, and you'll uncover something that can be twisted against them. That's why this culture inevitably devours itself. When you build your identity around the illusion of moral purity, it's only a matter of time before you choke on your own hypocrisy.
Now, in addition to the fact that a person shouldn't have to love getting fired, even if it does achieve more equity, this was a private call. Does private mean anything anymore? Apparently not. Even sadder, this love of snitching seems to be one of the few areas that is now truly bipartisan. Snitch Nation isn't about what side you're on. It's about this mindset where everyone is an amateur secret policeman and tattling is a virtue.
Confidential information shared over a private phone call was never meant for public consumption, but in the era of online spies, nothing is sacred. Privacy isn't just going away. It has vanished from the world. We have traded it for the cheap thrill of being humiliated in public. These days, one recording, one leak, or one gotcha moment is all it takes to trigger the next online feeding frenzy. These people don't want the reality. They are trying to find a show. In order to obtain a few likes or a fleeting sense of moral superiority, they will use everything as a weapon. This is unfair. It's morality disguised as voyeurism. The goal is not accountability. Witnessing someone get burned, exposed, and humiliated is the dopamine rush. The fact that no one is untouchable is the worst. A private conversation can become a career-ending scandal, proving that we no longer live in a society of accountability. They are watching our life. And Mars has been warning about just that, a dystopian circus. In this world, betrayal has emerged as the new symbol of bravery.
The woke side of the internet thinks going through someone's old MySpace account makes them part of the resistance. It doesn't. It makes you a punk.
There's absolutely nothing brave about ratting someone out. Let's be real. It doesn't take courage to ruin a life from behind a screen. It's not justice. It's cowardice with Wi-Fi.
There's absolutely nothing brave about revealing someone. Let's be truthful. It takes no courage to ruin someone's life from behind a screen. It's unfair. Cowardice is demonstrated by Wi-Fi. The far left likes to portray it as a heroic quest, going through old tweets or private statements as if they are uncovering hidden evil, even though they aren't saving the world. They are merely participating in a virtual blood sport that is being passed off as morality. Bill Maher describes it as depressing. He sees these self-styled guardians of the moral hall for what they are: bitter, insecure people who only feel powerful when someone else is in jeopardy. They don't build, create, or do anything remotely constructive. Instead, they spend their time doom-crawling through archives looking for their next gotcha moment. The message from Mars rises over the commotion.
And Republicans lately, besides sponsoring that new reality show, Texas Zygote Hunters, have been encouraging college students to whip out their phones to record and report professors who espouse leftist ideas. As always, these snowflakes fall just as hard on the right as they do on the left.
If the far right does the same, they will suffer the same awful fate. No freebies, no exceptions. It's not a party issue. It concerns fundamental justice and the right to free speech without fear of life in prison. America is supposed to be a tumultuous marketplace of ideas, not a nation where speech is permanently criminalized. Neither a liberal nor a conservative, nor your weird uncle who tweets at 3 a.m. should have their future, career, or reputation ruined on something they said years ago. People grow. Opinions shift. From children who once thought bell bottoms were the newest fashion fad, we all learned something about evolution. Opinions should be no exception. Let the past be background rather than a life sentence. Therefore, when moral vigilantism occurs on a local scale, all sides are criticized. This is not so much about defending offending speech as it is about preserving the right to be imperfect and to develop.
Colleges pride themselves on being safe spaces, not for professors. At least not any who might want to stretch young minds to think differently and try on new ideas. Yeah, try that at your peril. Same with comedy clubs, where ever since the iPhone, comics have been complaining about snitches in the audience who'll rat them out for crossing the line, which is practically the job description of a comedian.
Comedy isn't safe anymore, not even remotely. The far left has turned it into a minefield where every joke comes with a legal style disclaimer and every punchline risks igniting a scandal. Say something that clashes with their ever-shifting rulebook and you're done. They'll snip your routine into a 10-second clip, rip away the context, and post it online like some kind of public trial. One misunderstood joke and suddenly you're the villain of the week. No one is spared, not even the biggest names. Kevin Hart, for example, was stripped of his Oscar hosting gig over comments he had already apologized for years earlier. That's not accountability, that's madness. Comedy used to be the one place where people could come together, laugh at the ridiculousness of life, and forget their differences for a while. Now it's treated like a crime scene. Every word is dissected. Every laugh is questioned.
Comics are joking constantly. Even some people who aren't comics do that. And if you're lucky enough in life to be around people like that, I'm sure you know, they can't all be gems. Sometimes you get the twisties, and the joke doesn't land just right. Exposing that doesn't make you noble.
Sorting through tweets from a decade ago isn't a sign of true courage, he tells them. It's in avoiding actual harm rather than chasing digital ghosts for moral brownie points. He makes the distinction between protecting people and persecuting them, where it should have always been. The cancel crowd like portraying themselves as heroes battling evil, but in reality, they are nothing more than bounty hunters targeting human weaknesses. Public humiliation under the guise of morality is what they pass off as accountability. Maher doesn't hold back either. He refers to it just as that. Shameful, petty, and very un-American.
You're not David Kaczynski, the brother of the Unabomber who turned in his own brother, lest any more mail bombs go off? That was noble. Or think of Edward Snowden, enduring exile in Russia so he could expose unlawful government snooping. Noble. Colonel Alexander Vindman, exposing the Ukraine fiasco. Noble. That's not you taking down the host of the Ice Capades. You're a loser with Wi-Fi and all the time in the world to listen to long-forgotten podcasts. You're not a journalist. You're just a creepy little rat. Go to Texas and catch a runaway embryo.
In the end, Maher's message couldn't be clearer or more powerful. This culture of selective outrage, online tattling, and moral gatekeeping is eating society alive from within. What started as a sincere call for accountability has spiraled into a brutal arena of public humiliation, where people aren't corrected, they're condemned simply for being human. Everyone has said something foolish, unkind, or regrettable at some point. That's just part of living and learning. But the internet doesn't forget, and the mob doesn't forgive. Maher's stand against wokeism isn't about defending bad behavior. It's about protecting the right to nuance, reason, and free expression. He's voicing what many quietly believe, but are too scared to say aloud. Increasingly, people who equate anger with virtue are attacking comedy, free thought, and even personal beliefs. His message is a warning. If this madness keeps spreading, no one will ever pass the purity test. Rage doesn't discriminate. Once unleashed, it doesn't stop with your enemies. Eventually, it comes for you too. And when that day arrives, there won't be anyone left to laugh. That's where we'll leave things for today. If you enjoyed this breakdown, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more honest commentary. Share it with your friends because the only way to defeat cancel culture is to stop letting it control you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.